BK reporting live here from Ford Field. We're about to step in here and will the Lions to their home opener victory. Go Lions.
Welcome back, Lions fans! We got a familiar face here in town today. It's not only fuck the Bears, it's fuck Ben Johnson, baby!
Yeah! Let's go!
All right, everybody, welcome back to Detroit Sports Flow here with BK.
And Speaks.
This week we will be diving into the Detroit Lions 52-21 victory versus the Chicago Bears in the home opener.
Woo!
I happened to be in attendance there, Speaks. It was an absolute ball and the crowd was buzzing.
I bet. I wish I had the same atmosphere when I was at the Packers game, but it was like that for the Packers. I was just on the opposing side.
Yeah, that's going to happen on those away games.
It
but
sure is.
We're buzzing. Everybody knew that the team was going to come out hot, and boy, did they. But diving into the fast flow for today's episode, first we will go into film room, kind of analyze some of the game clips, what we saw, and where we thought we had a lot of success. Then we're going to go into key player matchups for this last week's game, talk about where our matchups, we had advantages, disadvantages, all those different things there. Then we're going to give our report card for the coaches, how we thought they did this week with the game plan and having
Bounced
their
back
boys ready.
nicely.
Yep, I thought they bounced back nicely from what we saw in Green Bay. Then we're going to go inside the numbers, talk about some key stats from the game, and then we're going to go into a game recap, kind of give a idea of how the game played out, where we really started to separate ourselves from the Chicago Bears. Then we're going to dive into the player of the games and the studs of the game here. There was plenty to look at here, Speaks.
Plenty to look at and plenty to talk about, unlike last week.
Yeah, you put up a 50 burger. It's pretty good. And then finally, we're going to give our predictions for this week's big matchup on Monday night at the Baltimore Ravens.
It's a tough one.
Going to be a great battle there, Speaks.
Great battle, playing a Pro Bowler QB, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, one of the most dynamic players that the NFL's ever seen in Lamar Jackson, one of the best coaches in John Harbaugh, that whole staff over there in Baltimore from top to bottom, one of the best organizations around.
Yeah, that's staple of the league with
staple
how good
of the
they
league.
are. So we'll give our predictions for that. All right, Speaks, let's dive into film room here.
Let's get into it.
First play here. This is the first drive of the game, and actually the first play of the game here, Speaks. The Lions really set the tone here with a play-action pass where they're able to hit St. Brown
Our
right
bread
in the
and
middle.
butter.
Yeah, doing his thing.
I got to account for Gibbs over there. And
Gibbs right in the corner. You're right, and St. Brown just
takes
does
off.
his thing.
Takes off. What a way to start the game, BK. It must have been rocking in there.
Oh yeah, it was right out the gates. Everybody knew this offense meant business. They came out guns a-blazing. This first drive was incredible. And this next play here, Speaks. This is still on the first drive. This is how they top off the drive. End up getting a touchdown here with this little pitch play to Gibbs. But you can see just how much more efficient and how much more efficient the offensive line was this week than it was last week. You could see that they were getting a push against that, Bears front that wasn't even close to as good as Green Bay's. Looking at this tape, it looks like Green Bay could be the team to beat, maybe even in the NFL. So that's going to be quite a challenge for us going forward. But we just looked night and day in the trenches.
Night and day difference in the trenches. We were really getting the push up front. It was a great thing to see, and we'll talk about Green Bay. They haven't played an away game yet.
That's a good point. But
They have not played an away game.
That defense looks pretty good out of the gates. But speaking of defense, yeah, exactly. Love's been looking solid too. But speaking of defense, this is on, I think, the Chicago's first drive of the game here after we score a touchdown. You can really see Jack Campbell is setting the tone. This ends up being a false start penalty, but he just
Look at him.
blows up DeAndre
Blow
Swift.
rushes him.
And you can just see that setting the tone right out the gates. You knew that they were going to bring it at that point. And then this drive right here speaks because they end up scoring on that first drive. They tie it up 7-7. And this is kind of where the entire game changes. They're driving. It's Brian Branch just
BB,
comes
baby.
up with a mega hit on
Look
Swift.
at this. Head right on the ball, just like you're taught. The mouth guard goes off. The ball, we recover. BB doing his thing, baby.
Yeah, and right when we needed it, they were knocking. They were in the red zone. You knew that we needed to come up with a play. He comes up with a play. And
BB, baby, let's go.
gets a huge hit on Swift. That ball ends up popping in the air and just lands in Jack Campbell's lap. Pretty awesome to see
Jack
that.
Campbell has the sweet blow up on DeAndre Swift, and then he has the fumble recovery right there. You gotta love to see
You
it.
gotta love it. It just setting the tone early on. And then this is what we were talking about a little bit going into the game here, Speaks. We're able to get the pressure on Caleb Williams like we were kind of expecting, and you force him into mistakes. This
Yep.
is how it is with the young quarterback. He still hasn't developed in this regard. The pass rush ends up getting home.
Look at Hutch right there.
Hutch just
Almost got him.
pushing him out of the pocket, and he just sails
And
this
then
one.
the ball hawk himself,
Er-
Kirby Joseph,
Right
baby.
to Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph ends up making the big play there, and that just changes the entire thing on this. And then the next play here, we're talking about
The trenches on the
QB
defense.
sneak where Ben Johnson just gets a little
greedy.
aggressive
Little
here.
greedy.
Yeah, I believe this is second quarter. He's on his own 37, it looks
See,
like.
he could get that greedy with our offensive line, but he doesn't quite have that in Chicago quite yet.
Exactly. He's thinking 3rd and 1. You know, we're going to get a push on these guys. We're going to end up being able to QB sneak it for the first down. 3rd down, right
Look
here.
at the push DJ Reed and Ty Lee get right in the middle.
Just a
No,
huge
not
push.
today.
And then you get Anzalone coming in there to clean it up. These linebackers were just coming right downhill at this.
Our linebackers have looked great in this game.
Yeah, they really did. They played in a physical nature. It was very difficult for the Bears to deal with. And then this one, I'm going to tell you, the crowd went absolutely ballistic after this one right
I
here.
was at home.
Going right at Tylee
Again,
and
look at
Reader
the
again.
push by Reader.
And they just submarine those guards.
And
in the
Derek
center.
Barge really came through right there.
Yes, he did. It was pretty outstanding to see that one. And then speaking of outstanding here, Speaks, this rookie Isaac Tesla out of Hudsonville continues to impress. This is late in the first half. We're driving down the field where I think there's about 30 seconds left in the half here, and Goff decides Tesla's his man to go to.
He's tested.
He's just seeing him on the outside, 1-on-1. Let me see
Oh.
what he's got.
The no look too.
Oh!
And what a catch!
Oh, let me
That
just
is
snag
dirty.
it one-handed.
He does it again, 2 weeks in a row.
Again, he's got 2 catches in the NFL, Speaks, and both are unbelievable highlight
Incredible,
plays.
incredible. It's nice to see him on the red zone on this next play.
Yeah, he's in the red zone here, but this is all St. Brown. We got
But
6.
this is all lined up because of Goff and Tesla.
Exactly. You got JMO on the other side here. You're isolating St. Brown on the outside. And this is 6 seconds left in the half. It's 14-7. This is where the Lions really start to take control of the game. Bread and butter, man.
Bread and butter. St. Brown, the chemistry between him and Goff. Look at this route. Just no chance. No chance for the
I got my
defender.
feet. No problem there.
Oh man, he's so filthy.
He's just so good. Mr. Consistent.
St. Brown,
St.
you
Brown.
are something else.
And he ends up with 3 touchdowns in this game.
3
So
touchdowns.
He was just the safety net for Goff the entire time, finding himself open. But speaking of finding themselves open, we got Jamison Williams
We got the
going
flash.
this week. And this is an incredible play, Speaks. He's coming over the middle here. And most guys in the league are going to get tackled at the opposing 45
Yeah,
here.
but no, he keeps it going. It's like, look how explosive. And he keeps it going. See, I would have cut back right there at the 20, but Waymo If he did trip up right there, I still think he gets the corner in the end zone.
I think he goes to the house too, but I don't think there's a question in this league anymore that he might be the most explosive
I
player.
agree with you.
You put the ball in his hands, and it's just a different gear than the rest of the guys
The
have.
Flash, baby. Number one, Agent Uno.
The Flash. And then speaking of the Flash, this is where he finally gets into the end zone. He said in an interview he knew this was going to be a touchdown right when
He
the
couldn't tell
play
us why,
started.
though.
Couldn't tell us why, but he just goes right on the streak. Nobody's even
Bye-bye.
touching him.
Oh.
Oh.
Little 44-yard bomb there and to the house.
Man, what an explosive wide receiver grouping we have. We got St. Brown, we have the Flash, and we have the young Tesla rookie making all kinds of exceptional catches.
And Laporta too, and like I
Laporta.
think the thing that people don't really talk about is how Jamison Williams opens it up for St. Brown.
Yes.
As he's running those streaks, these DBs have to
Respect
stay
it.
honest with it, or else he's going to the house. And the fact is, every time they do that, right across the middle, St. Brown's finding those gaps. It completely opens up the offense.
And they really got to respect Khalif Raymond's speed too, and he's in there. He should not be forgotten and not mentioned because the things that Khalif can do, everyone loves Raymond, baby.
Yeah, he's solid too.
He is.
And don't even get me started with this next guy. We finally get Jahmyr Gibbs going here, but keep an eye on 89, Brock Wright.
Oh,
he
what
ends
a
up
block.
springing this with this little chip block
Boom.
on the D tackle.
Khalif, speaking of Khalif, look at that block
Khalif
too.
getting a block and J-Mo down
Just
the field.
leading it. Look how pumped he is for his Alabama boy.
Little 40-yard touchdown or 40-yard run there
Little
for
scamper.
for Gibbs. I thought he was going to the house. I
Yeah,
thought
so did I.
everybody in the stadium thought he was going to the house, but that's what you get with the explosion.
Now,
of
since this
Gibbs.
is a defensive play, we better turn this around.
Yeah, we're gonna
Defense.
have to give a little love to our guy here, Aiden Hutchinson, coming back from the devastating leg injury last year, and this is finally where he gets his first sack.
The moment that Motown has been waiting for since the injury.
The whole time, Speaks. This was the loudest the stadium got the entire day. He ends
Yeah.
up getting the sack here, and the place is just going wild. You could tell how elated Hutch was to get that sack. It was a special moment for him, and I just see him kind of building on this.
Special moment for the city of Detroit after everything he went through to fight his way back, to be here, make that play, and look like the same player he was before the injury. DK.
Exactly, and that's what we've all been hoping for.
Exactly.
We knew that was going to take time with Hutch, and he's looking like he's getting back. I actually saw him hurl a defender to him, so I don't think that leg's struggling too much anymore.
He has that titanium rod in there. He's wanting to move people with it.
Yeah, he's moving people and he's getting off that edge quick. So, a lot to be hopeful about here after this performance. The defensive pass rush obviously wasn't as much as we wanted it to be, but they were affecting Caleb Williams, and it ended up making a big difference in this game.
Let's dive right into the player matchups and see where we were able to separate ourselves this week, BK. Where do you think we really excelled on the offensive side of the ball in the trenches this week?
Well, I think it came down to the trenches because when we were talking about that Green Bay game, we got dominated up front.
Oh,
That wasn't what we needed. That's not Detroit Lions football. We control the line of scrimmage. That's our bread and butter. I thought offensively it was night and day, Speaks. We were able to push the Bears around given they don't have Green Bay's pass rush, but they were able to push them backwards, control them in the pass protection as well for Goff to get into these play action passes. I was very impressed with what I saw on the offensive side. What do you think?
I totally agree, and I love the way we started off the game. I know we already covered this in film room, but to get Goff comfortable, we start off with that play action, which is our bread and butter, and then we throw that laser to St. Brown. Tate Ratledge had such a better game as a rookie. He was getting that push up front. Graham Glasgow looked like he had more communication with Tate Ratledge, which translated the whole rest of the offensive line. Taylor Decker had a heck of a game, and then Penny Sewell was doing his thing.
As he always does.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of improvement here, and I just see this offensive line getting better and better as we keep going.
The cohesion is getting there. Then when you get to the defense side of the ball, we were finally getting some pressure up front. Tyleek Williams, I thought, had a great game. For a rookie, he really came into his own, and then I thought DJ Reader had another great game getting push in the interior. Why don't you talk about the outside?
Yeah, the outside outquated Muhammad too,
Whoa,
Speaks. had a great game. It sounds like Dan Campbell's going to use him much more going forward. Marcus Davenport's kind of injured, but he had a good game as well.
He did.
But I see a lot of hope with this pass rush going forward as we get more experience and more work as a unit. All right, Speaks, let's give our report cards for these coaches this week. I thought it was a much better game plan than what we had last week. Dan Campbell really had the boys ready. I think Dan Campbell, I got to give him an A because everybody's questioning him coming into this game. Are the Lions the same team without the coordinators? He had these boys ready to go.
Yes, he did.
And ready to go to war for him, and I thought that has to get an A. Very impressed with how Campbell handled all the adversity this week. Johnny Morton, our offensive coordinator, also dealt with a ton of criticism this week. I thought he came out, he had the motion going, he got the offensive line working. I got him at a B+. Kelvin Shepard, our defensive coordinator, I'm putting him at a B. I thought he had these guys flying around, playing physical. Was really impressed with what I saw there as well. And then Hank Fraley, our offensive line coach, was able to get these guys in cohesion and finally start communicating on that offensive line. I'm going to give him a B+ as well.
With MCDC, I'm starting off hot, A+. He had the boys ready to play top to bottom. He said if you can't handle the pressure in this league, then you're in the wrong business. He had everyone ready from top to bottom. It was a great game plan by MCDC. He was kicking around Ben Johnson like it was his garbage on the curb. Johnny Moe, I'm giving him an A-. He played, he called a great game. He had the boys doing great receiving and running the ball. I thought he called a great game. The offense was given an 85.2 overall grade and a 90.9 overall receiving grade. That's the highest in one game the Lions have had as back as PFF date goes back in 2008. Shepard, B-, had them flying around like BK said. Hank Fraley, B-, fixed all the miscommunications and dialed things in.
Love it. Speaks. Let's dive into our players of the game, studs of the game here. Ooh. Offensively, I don't know how I could go against him. Jared Goff played out of this world. Ends up going 23 for 28 for 334 yards and 5 touchdowns. Unbelievable performance out of Goff. He got that play action game going, and when he gets that play action game going, he is absolutely lethal. I thought he played lights out this week, and I expect him to do that going forward.
He was making it rain out there.
Yeah, he was, but I mean, we're picking on a pretty bad Bears secondary, I like play too, but we'll take it. And then my defensive player of the game here speaks, Jack Campbell. He was bringing it all game long, ends up with 7 tackles and the 1 fumble recovery, but he was just creating that physical nature that the Lions needed up front. I thought he played outstanding again, calling the shots on that defense, and I just expect him to continue to grow as the season rolls along. Who do you got?
Offensively, I got Son of God, 9 receptions, 115 yards, 3 TDs. That first play that we already talked about in fill room to really get us going on that 34-yard reception from the boy who was making it rain out there, Jared Goff. You know, we don't talk about St. Brown enough on this, show that we do here, and that ends today. He's just so reliable. We forget to talk about him, and he is one of the best wide receivers in the game. And I think him and Goff are the best wide receiver QB duo in all of NFL. You know, Burrow and Chase are hurt, so I got him. And then defensively, I got BB. I thought BB was an absolute monster in this game, from stuffing the run to coming up in the pass rush to getting a sack. Deflecting the football, he was doing everything, and he said this game was personal, and he took it to Ben Johnson and the Bears, baby.
All right, Speaks, let's do a little special segment in this week's episode, too. Let's talk about some unsung heroes that we had out on the field for us this week. My guy on the offensive side here, Speaks. Brock Wright had an absolutely outstanding game for us. Was great in the running attack, and the way he was pulling, opening up gaps for our running backs. And then additionally, he ends up with 3 catches for 24 yards and a touch. Brock Wright, great second tight end for us, and made a huge impact this week.
I love everything about Brock Wright. I love your decision there. I'm going to go with Elquay Muhammad. He looked really worthy of a larger role moving forward with us, with 4 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. him opposite of Hutchinson. We really liked what we saw out of him last year, BK,
Yeah.
and I feel like he's really come into his own. A lot of people said we need this defensive end help. Well, we knew we had Al-Quaid Muhammad, and he's really proven us right with what we said earlier in the season.
Exactly. Great depth for Davenport there, too.
100%.
All right, Speaks, let's dive into a little bit of a game recap of this dominant performance that the Detroit Lions put on. Offensively, what I really saw, Speaks, is the offensive line got clicking more. We were able to get the ball to our weapons on the outside. That was absolutely massive for us. Getting Jameson Williams involved, it starts stretching the field like we were mentioning earlier. St. Brown ends up getting it going. We didn't really see too much of him last week. But it all starts with that running attack.
It all starts with the running attack. Sonic and Knuckles got things going. Sonic had the 94 yards. Knuckles had the 54 yards. And then the play action opened up, BK.
And that was it,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's how we run things. Offensively, we got to have the bread and butter before we get to the complicated stuff like Dan Campbell was mentioning.
Yep.
And we were able to do that this week, and we did it very efficiently. I thought we could have put up more points. We missed a couple of things. But
Bates missed a field goal. We left points on the board, and one thing that I saw that was really reassuring, Campbell said before the game, all these things that we did wrong versus Green Bay, we fixed all those mistakes, BK, and he said they were easy fixes.
Yeah, he just had to get his guys on track.
Yep.
He had to get them thinking right going into the game. I thought he had that, on lock. These guys were coming out guns a-blazing, and they were looking for redemption versus their old offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, who has not exactly praised us as he's been in Chicago.
Ben who?
Ben what? But as we're talking about the defense, Speaks, they were rolling around too, just flying around the field, and Brian Branch continues to just be an elite playmaker in the secondary. Terrion Arnold has been getting picked on the first couple of weeks, but I'm liking what I see out of him too as he continues to guard the best wide receiver on the other squad.
Yeah, I have no qualms about Terrion. DJ Reed had a better game. Wingo finally got some pressure up front, and then Tyleek, like we already mentioned, did his thing. So very reassuring on both sides of the ball in week 2.
Yeah, especially when we're talking the pass rush was there more. We were starting to fluster Caleb Williams a little bit more from what we saw the previous week, and it's a lot to look forward to. Baltimore's going to be quite a humbling test, I believe.
It will be.
But
I think we're up for it.
I think we have a shot, which I wouldn't have said after the Green Bay game.
I feel a lot better going into week 3 than I did coming into week 2.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens this week. We're going to have our hands full, but I think the Lions are ready.
As do I.
All right, Speaks, let's dive into some of these numbers after the game, some of these stats and impressive stats that we put up.
Yeah, Detroit Lions offense exploded for the 500 yards this game versus the Bears. Just unreal after last week, so that was super awesome to watch. Huge performances by our wide receiver duo, St. Brown and Waymo. As we already stated, Brown had the 115 yards, 9 receptions, 3 tutties. But Brown became the first Lions player to have 100 receiving yards and 3 scores in a game since the great Calvin Johnson in 2010. That's high praise, BK.
Yeah, that's huge praise.
That's huge praise. And then Waymo put up Randy Moss-like stats in this game. Only 2 receptions for 108 yards, 64 yards being his log, and then his 44-yard TD blistering, baby, the flash. And then Goff went 23 for 38, 334, 5 TDs. BK already mentioned that. Sonic had the 12 carries for 94 yards. Knuckles had the 11 carries for 54 yards. And then I'm going to toss it over to my boy BK for the defense.
Yeah, and on the defensive side, there was some stuff that I really liked. But with the numbers, we're talking about Marcus Davenport being on the other side of Aiden Hutchinson. Everybody was asking, where is he? Where is he? We didn't see him at all in that Green Bay game.
Yep.
He ends up with a score of 70.9, pretty solid rating for the game.
Yep.
Also has a huge sack in the game,
Huge
so we're
sack.
starting to see that come along a little bit. But, we don't know where Davenport is health-wise.
Got hurt on that side.
Got hurt on the sack, so then Al-Quaid Muhammad comes in. We were talking about him a little beforehand.
Yeah.
Practice squad player, gets on the team last year with all the injuries. He ends up coming in, having the 4 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. Great game out of him, and then Hutch gets that first sack back. Brian Branch, highest rated player on the team, 91.6.
Woo, baby, what a performance.
All right, Speaks, let's dive into our predictions for this week's big matchup versus the Baltimore Ravens. We've been talking about it all episode. This is a big showdown. They ended up giving away that game versus the Buffalo Bills 2 weeks ago here. Not last week, but the previous week with that fumble from Derrick Henry. They are no joke, those Speaks. They can put points up on anybody. Monday Night Football in Baltimore, extremely difficult test.
Tough environment.
I'm torn on this game because what I saw of the Lions, I was like, okay, the Lions are going to be very good going into this. Offensively, they're going to be able to score. Baltimore's a different animal. They're going to come at us up front. They're going to test this offensive line in a way that Chicago was unable to do. I think with that, Lamar Jackson, their ability to score, I just don't think we're going to be able to put up enough points here. I think we're going to give them a hell of a battle. I'm just thinking we're not going to quite get there. I got the Ravens beating us here 34-27.
Well,
what do you got?
Well, let's see here. I think our run defense has been outstanding thus far this year. Our run defense was outstanding last year. I think DJ Reed, Tyleek Williams is going to stuff up the interior. I think we're going to get pressure from the outside with Hutch, Muhammad. We'll see if Davenport can play, so I think we fare well there. And then on the offense side of the ball, I think we caught a break with Van Noy being out. And then an interesting development today, we signed Malik Cunningham to emulate what Lamar Jackson does.
From Baltimore's practice squad.
Yeah, and he played with Baltimore last year. He's going to play that running quarterback for us in practice so we can get ready for that during the game. We've notoriously struggled in the past, but up to date, we've played Love, we've played Caleb Williams, and we've played great against them. So I got us winning this game 27-24. I think our offense does just enough, and our defense forces a few turnovers and keeps Derrick Henry in check.
I love this, Speaks. We are 5.5-point dogs, and I think Lamar Jackson is a little better than Caleb Williams, but we'll see what happens.
We're comparing apples to oranges. I was talking about running quarterbacks.
That's fair. Going to be a great game, though. I'm looking forward to watching it.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Detroit Sports Flow with BK and Speaks, you blue Kool-Aid drinkers. You guys have a great rest of your days, you filthy animals, until we're back next week recapping the Monday night showdown between the Baltimore Ravens and Detroit Lions. Go Lions, baby!
Thanks for listening. Go Lions.